Okay, we are nearing 100 participants, so I take it as a sign that we can slowly start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Pleased to welcome you all to this joint public webinar, which aims to highlight one of the main bottlenecks of Europe's energy transition, and that is lack of skilled workforce or workers. My name is Branislav Pilat, and I'm here today as convener of ENTSO-E working group, Asset Implementation and Management, which also consists of team dedicated to supply chain, project delivery, and procurement. Where I put on my TSO hat, I'm working as a specialist in a system development section of SEPS, Transmission System Operator of Slovak Republic. Today's event is the result of a joint initiative by TND Europe, Europacable, EU DSO entity, and ENTSO-E. This closer cooperation kicked off more than a year ago as one of the actions to respond to EU Grid Action Plan published by European Commission in December 2023. First, I would like to thank all of the presenters for willingness to share their knowledge and experience. And of course, I would like to thank all of you for attending our webinar and basically confirming the importance of this topic. I'm sure that most of you are quite busy. Next slide, please. Now, I just want to go quickly through some housekeeping rules. I'm sure that you are familiar with most of them. Webinar is recorded and will be made publicly available. Everyone's muted with no camera access, of course, except for the speakers. Regarding any questions you might have, we'll be using tool Slido for the Q&A, and of course, to make session more interactive, we'll gather some feedback using the same tool. We'll do our best to answer your questions at the end of webinar, time permitting. Next slide. Now, why we are here? As the energy transition accelerates, things change, and our sector, which at least from the grid operators part is quite conservative, needs to adapt as well. Resilience and security of our grid infrastructure and our supply chains must be at the forefront of our discussions. When we started discussing this topic, the supply chains, grid bottlenecks, and other related challenges a year and a half ago, we found out that the lack of people, qualified people, and our future needs of said people, be it for the utilities, manufacturers, designers, project managers, IT sector, so the whole spectrum of white and blue-collar workers, take your pick, is one thing that was maybe not so much discussed before. Now, as you can see on the slide before you, policymakers, industry, international agencies also refocus on this issue. Even maybe a bit overreaching or example right now, even if we had a full warehouse of assets, for example, power transformers, and you had no one to test them, no one to install them or maintain them, they're worthless. At the end of the day, it's all about the people. According to the TSOs in Europe, having a skilled workforce is a major bottleneck in supply chains, which slows down the energy transition. You can see some results of the survey we conducted as ENTSO-E before you. We are looking for millions of people worldwide, and we are more or less competing with other industries and sectors. I work for TSO, but I'm not here to look for new company colleagues. I know that every new person joining the sector is a win for us all. We got to shed a bit of the conservative shells and business as usual shells and motivate, retrain, and retain as much workers as possible. Next slide, please. Now, before you can see our agenda for today, first, after the welcome and introduction, we'll start with a perspective of European Commission and their Union of Skills presented by Ilya Jovancevic. We continue with interventions by grid operators, followed by manufacturers and Q&A at the end of the webinar. Next slide, please. To make the webinar more interactive, as I already said, we'll be using tool Slido. And we have also prepared a set of questions to ask after each part of the webinar. To access the Slido page, please either scan the QR code you see before you. We will remind you from time to time. And you can also use the code you see on your screen. First, we ask a question to find out who is here today with us. So first question, you should see it on a slide. I'll just check. There it is. You should see it. Who's here with us today? And take your time, take a few seconds to say who you are. I see that we already have some results. We won't be showing the results themselves on the presentation before you, but you can see them in the app itself. Of course, conclusions and presentation will be shared with you after the webinar in the coming days. We move to the next question. Some sort of a basically icebreaker questions, some initial questions at the beginning. Next question is more on your opinion on visibility, role of the grids. So please, next question. I hope it works. There it is. It's an open type of question, so we'll give you a few more seconds to fill in. Just highlights what you consider main issue or main opportunity. Okay, a few more seconds and we will continue. Okay, we'll leave the question open a bit longer, but we will proceed with the presentation. Now, we will start the presentation themselves, first of which is Commission's or European Commission's point of view. First thing on the list, as I said, we really appreciate that the Commission and Ilya Jovancevic have taken the time to be here today and share their thoughts on this important topic. Ilya, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Branislav, for the kind introduction, also explaining the gravity of the challenges ahead of us. Also, thank you to the organizers for putting in place today's webinar and inviting us to take the word. I'm looking very much to hearing about the perspective from both from other participants, both grid operators and manufacturers. But maybe first a word of introduction. My name is Ilya Jovancevic, and I work for the Infrastructure and Regional Cooperation Unit in DG ENER. As our unit deals primarily with the 10E regulation, PCI, PMI selection processes, and regional cooperation, including through high-level groups, we are in close contact with many of the stakeholders joining us here today on a variety of issues. One of them are supply chains and skills, which are becoming an increasingly important dimension with regard to the supply chains. That's why I decided also to put it in the name of the presentation. Anyway, we are looking forward to deepening our cooperation on these issues and exchanging today and in the future. Next slide, please. So a bit of background first. So the Draghi report published last year identified various challenges facing industry and our companies in the single market. As you know, its findings contributed to the Commission's work on competitiveness. In the context of the supply chains, the report warned of physical bottlenecks, which the surge in demand for grid components might bring as it exceeds Europeans' manufacturing capacity. Also, the competitiveness of the EU and the success of the European economic model were stated to rest on the successful execution of green and digital transition, which rests again on labor force endowed with the right knowledge and skills. Therefore, underlining that the right skills are essential to improve productivity and competitiveness in the areas of clean and energy transition. Next slide, please. But these issues are not new to us. Thank you, Branislav, also for reflecting already on the GRID's action plan at the beginning, at the very introduction. As some of you might know, the GRID action plan published in 2023 already recognized the need for strengthening the supply chains and recognized it as one of its seven horizontal challenges needed for accelerating the GRID deployment. It also there highlighted the lack of skilled workforce as an element contributing to it. The GRID action plan highlighted the role of ENTSO-E academies for skill development, established later through Net Zero Industry Act, but more on this later. So this is not covered by the presentation, but the EU legal acquis in energy already started to address the issue. So in the renewable and energy efficiency directives, member states are requested to assess and address the skills gap for energy efficiency and renewables and to mutually recognize certain certification. So we see some newer initiatives also by the Commission, namely the EU Competitiveness Compass and the Clean Industrial Deal also included specific chapter on skills and call to implement as soon as possible the genuine union of skills. Lastly, the Affordable Energy Action Plan specifically acknowledged the importance of highly skilled workforce for deploying renewables. Next slide, please. Yes, so the intention for establishing the Union of Skills was laid out in the political guidance for the Commission, and the task was entrusted to Roxana Musatu, Executive Vice President for Social Rights and Skills, Quality Jobs and Preparedness. As you certainly know, this does not fall within the remit of DG ENER. While due to the gravity of green transition, we are in close contact, particularly with colleagues from DG Employment who lead on this. Next slide, please. So the Union of Skills package was adopted by the European Commission on the 5th of March, marks a step towards bolstering the EU's competitiveness by strengthening skills. It is one of the flagship initiatives of the first 100 days of the Commission. It was adopted together with the Basic Skills Action Plan and a STEM Education Strategic Plan. On the latter, on the STEM Education Strategic Plan, it sets out measures to reverse the trend of declining performance in STEM skills at schools and encourage more students, especially girls and women, into STEM studies and careers. Going back to the Union of Skills, it aims to support the development of quality, inclusive and adaptable education, training and skills systems to increase the EU competitiveness. So as far as energy is concerned, the Union of Skills communication estimates that the number of skilled energy workers must increase by at least 50% from 7 to 11 million in Europe, a third of which for infrastructure. So concerning more detailed numbers, GRC is working to estimate the numbers of workers needed to install, but not only to manufacture clean energy technologies in the modeling and scenarios, which is the Commission working for 2030 and 2040. Here, the estimates will be more go in more detailed as the labor intensity will be for, let's say, installation of solar PV, storage batteries, heat pumps for electric networks, etc. These specific fields will be analyzed, but the first results will only be available in the summer. Next slide, please. So going to the Union of Skills, there are three main challenges identified also by the communication, which are basically requesting why there's needed a step to change in ambition and action. First one, as you can see from the presentation, is the skills shortages and gaps, so which reflect the fact that Europe does not produce enough skilled graduates from higher education and vocational education and training. Here, I would refer to the latter. So vocational training are in high demand, notably in the sectors where acute shortages persists. So Union of Skills specifically points out here to green skills, which are among needed skills for developing for basically successful green transition and circular economy. So vocational education and training are particularly needed in these areas. So furthermore, the EU is not able to there is not enough people who are getting upskill or reskill through their working lives. And in the global competition for talent, Europe is struggles to be the most attractive destination. There are two other challenges. The first one is transformation speeds gap. Basically, it amounts to education and trading system are lagging behind the rapid technological transformation needed for decarbonization of the economy and to reduce dependencies in strategic sectors. Europe faces a strong demand for skilled workers, especially in the STEM fields, such as in strategic sectors like clean and circular technologies and also digital transition. So there is also an issue of fragmented governance where skilled policies are, as you know, interlinked with very different policy fields, which are often not coordinated the best, leading to suboptimal results. Next slide, please. So very quickly, so there are four strains of the Union of Skills. First one is to build skills for quality jobs and lives through strong education and foundation with inclusive lifelong learning approach. Upskill and reskill an agile workforce mastering the digital and clean transition, notably with lower and middle classes. Third one relates to circulate skills with the free movement of people across the EU, while the last one to attract, develop and retain talent. Next slide, please. So there is a set of activities planned under the Union of Skills, but I will not go into them here today. I provided this and the following slide only for visualization purposes. You can see they build on the four strains which I have just mentioned. So let's say the first strain concerns building of skills, including through strong educational foundation and vocational training. This is done via, as you can see, the basic skills action plan and the STEM educational strategic plan. Which were released together with the Union of Skills communication. But I would here more reflect on the second part, which regards the regular upskilling and reskilling. Here, in particular, I would like to reflect on the role of strengthening of streamlining the Pact of Skills. It will support strategic sectors in their reskilling, including through large-scale partnership in line with the Competitiveness Compass and Clean Industrial Deal. So here some of you might know that already with the large-scale partnership from 2023 Pact for Skills, we already have energy well covered. So in fact, we have three partnerships established there, one for renewable energy, one for offshore wind, and another for digitalization of the energy value chain. A second part which I would like to mention here concerns the review and strengthening of the EU skills academies, including net zero industry academies. So this will include to reviewing the existing ones and rolling out the future ones. So as you might know, the Union of Skills mentioned the possible NZ Academy on grids. Unfortunately, we are still at a very early stage and I'm unable to share any more information about that. But for others who are maybe not familiar with it as much, there have been already NZ academies which have been so far rolled out, including on batteries and solar power, with new ones also being planned as well. As I have reflected here on some energy initiatives, maybe it's a good place to mention that also under the Life Clean Energy Transition Program, we also have an initiative to help member states to enhance training in energy efficiency for buildings and small-scale renewables. Going to this next slide, please. So as we are running out of time, I will not go into details of these activities relate to the last two strains of the Union of Skills. I would just briefly mention the Skills Portability Initiative, which aims to facilitate the mutual recognition of regulated professions and mainstream interoperable digital credentials. We expect proposal for this in 2026. Lastly, the Commission plans to establish a European Skills High-Level Board and a new observatory on skills intelligence, which Energy will be a part of. But more information about this will follow. Next slide. Yes, so thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me. I have just purposely left email of my colleague who is Remy Mayet, who is the policy advisor to the director on just transition, efficiency and innovation in the management team of DG Ener. He is also the person who is coordinating the work on skills within DG Ener. So please feel free to reach out to him or to me with any issues you might have or any suggestions you might have. Also, if I can just say a word, Remy will be also aside from coordinating the World of Skills, he will be organizing a session on 10th of June as part of the European Sustainable Energy Week, which I also invite you to have a look. Branislav, back to you.
Thank you, Ilya, for these highlights. I don't want to rush you, of course, so you don't need to be scared when you see me on the screen. But yeah, thank you for keeping the time. Now we move to another set of questions, this time with more focused approach, let's say. Same as last time, take a few seconds to answer them. We really look forward to your feedback, and we will proceed with grid operators' perspectives. Okay, since these questions are multiple choice or single choice questions, I will be a bit more strict on time, and we continue to another question. This question is open answer, so take a minute, say your thought or insights, and we'll proceed. Okay, we'll leave the question open throughout the presentation. It's open answer, so you can think about it. When we continue with the next part, we proceed with best practices from grid operators, and we start this part with common or group effort, or correct me if I'm wrong, the whole energy sector of France. I will leave that to correction to colleagues. That will be presented to us by colleagues from RT and Enedis, Florent Rivoire and Alexander Sin. Please, the floor is yours. I really apologize if I mispronounce your names. Yeah, the floor is yours.
That's perfect. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for this great opportunity to present our program. So I am Florent Rivoire. I am the Employment Director for RTE, and I have the pleasure to present the program with Alexandre Sinet. Maybe Alexandre, you want to...
So my name is Alexander Sinet. I'm director of the program, the Grid Schools for Energy Transition, and I'm working for Enedis, the French DSO, and I'm working with Florent. So Florent, let's go.
Let's go. So I will quickly develop the diagnostic, and then I will hand off over to Alexandre to allow time to develop solutions and keys to success So we are speaking on behalf of electricity transmission and distribution system operators about human resource needs to ensure the success of the energy transition over the next 15 years. Well, what is the situation in France? Quite common than with Europe. Well, the electrical grid sector in France is composed by 1,600 companies, 1,100 employees, and the organization of the grid sector is composed actually by 7 partners, which are RTE and EDIS, and 5 employee organizations which operate on digital public works, grid engineering activities, etc., etc. Next, please. Well, our key challenge is meeting the energy transition goals, which will require a significant increase in human resources, as you know. Our objective is to reduce CO2 emissions and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. This means a massive increase in electricity usage is expected, and as you already know, we develop new utility electricity usage. Sorry. Well, to support this transition, we will carry about 200 billion euros investment program by 2040, each 100 billion for RTE and EDIS. Next. So what is the impact on the employment for the grids sector? First, about the increased recruitment volumes in France, we go from 66,000 jobs in 24 to 106,000 jobs by 30. This is almost more than 61% growth in 6 years. The needs of TSO and DSO workforce is very important, of course, from 39,000 in 23 to 45,000 in 30. It's a growth of more than 10%. But the needs of the subcontractor workforce are even more important, from 27,000 in 23 to 61,000 in 30. This is more than 50% of growth. Next, please. Well, the second impact is about skill and skills, changing skills. Sorry. 80% of recruitments concern operational and or technical roles. As you can see on the slide, I don't develop, but we have a very, very strong need about technician and, as I said, field operators. Sorry. Next. Where we have a double challenge to success, recruitment and training. About recruitment, we have insufficient training programs in France to meet growing demands. For instance, we need per year an average of 50,000 engineers, but per year we just have 38,000 engineers trained. That's just an example, sorry, for engineer. And the situation for technicians is quite more difficult, is worse. For recruitment, of course, we have another big challenge. This is a strong competition, of course, with other sectors. For instance, nuclear sector, rail, transport, etc., etc. And the second difficulty is the training programs. Today, we are in France insufficient in volume too general and not tailored to our needs, and unevenly distributed across the territory. So this is the reason why the electricity grids stakeholders have launched a dedicated program to meet our workforce challenges. The program is the Electricity Network School program, and the leader of this program is Alexandre. And so, Alexandre, it's over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Florent. So Florent describes the issues we are facing in France with our recruitment needs. I would like to give you clues about our program, which aims to attract talents and recruit both in quantity and quality. So the name of the program is a Grid Schools for the Energy Transition. It focuses on recruitment needs from vocational qualification, high school, to master's degree level, including career transition for people who are far from the labor market. It deals with the skills that form the core of the sector, so the jobs that Florent showed you at the previous slide. It means electrotechnics, automation, industrial maintenance, telecommunication, grid design, and grid operations. And with that program, we would like to expand training pools to meet recruitment needs. We have also qualitative targets, just like increasing female representation in our jobs, and also facilitating career transition and promoting social inclusion. We would like also adapt training program in order to answer to the needs for the industries and to educate with the new skill. And with that program, we also would like to contribute to the structuring of the French electrical grid industrial sector around training and recruitment issues. So next slide, please. So our program is structured around 5 axes. It's attractiveness, educational resources, and technical platform. The third one concerns electrical grids classes. And the fourth axe is specialized higher education. And the fifth concern continuing vocational education. To give you more details about this axe and to make a focus on the third one, I could say that the first axis, attractiveness, is a mix of proximity-based action and digital campaigns in order to promote our training programs and jobs. So we would like to organize acquisition campaigns inspired by digital marketing to strengthen communication and promote actions like a toolkit for middle school students. We would like to organize immersive and digital serious games to explore professions of the sector. And we also implement specific actions for the feminization of profession. On the second axis, which means educational resources. For instance, we invest in technical platform for electrical system training programs. And we also train teachers involved in our core profession training programs. The axis 4, higher education. For instance, we develop a range of higher education courses adapt to expectations of industry, new expectations, like an hybrid master courses with dual specialization in both in civil engineering and electrical engineering. We also have a hybridization of courses with data on telecommunication and electrical engineering. And on the fifth axis, we develop also program which allow to go from unemployed people or people in retraining to the jobs of the electrical sector. So next slide, in order to make a focus on the third axis. So we have a large partnership with the French Ministry of National Education. This partnership is focused on three points. The first one is to adapt the classical training in job of electricity, focus on electrical grids. So we dedicate 30% of the content of that program to the industry-specific profession. And we also have 18 weeks of internship with a partners company of the electrical grid sector. And we also train teachers with specific cases on electrical grids. So we have also training programs for technicians through the introduction of complementary qualification for grid installers specifically. And at the higher education level, I already spoke about it, we try to develop a hybrid training offering. So next slide, please. Actually, to give you some data, the partnership with the French educational ministry leads to more than 100 electrical grid partnership at the vocational baccalaureate degree, vocational high school degree, 41 training institutions at the higher technical diplomas, and 18 partnership for electrical grid installer specialized trainings. So the whole of this deals with about 9,000 students or pupils concerned by those partnership, and not all of these people are going to work in the electrical grid sector, but we hope that about the third or the 40% of that people will be future partners of the electrical grid sector. I gave you some pictures at the next slide. I will describe some, for the conclusions, I will describe case success factors, but maybe because we have a few seconds, we can show you some pictures. So next slide, please, not progress. Next and next and next. Next. Yes, so these are pictures of the grid school for the energy transition. So you can see young people with a technical platform. You can show also next slide. It's a picture of a young woman in order to testify from our feminization goal. And next slide, maybe, in order to be really realistic. So this is one intervention in middle school to promote energy transition professions. And we have also a lot of other initiatives. So in order to conclude our case success factors, this is a cooperative work at the scale of the electrical grid sector. Secondly, we have a partnership with the institutional stakeholders, like the Ministry of National Education, but also in professional training, like France Travail, which is a public company in charge of people looking for a job. We have also high-level support inside our companies and also in professional federation. And this is a dual approach. I mean, both quantitative and qualitative, like Florence said. Our way forwards are to continue to strengthen the number of partnership with a high school and technical college, We also have to adapt the skill from higher degrees, from bachelor degree level and to master degree level. And we also have to work to deploy a continuous training program for job seekers and people in integration, targeting women and young people. So, like we said, the energy transition is waiting for you, and the French electrical grid sector offer jobs. And well, you are all welcome. Thank you for your attention, and we can answer to your question. I guess that we respect the time. Let us know, Branislav. Is that okay for
I
you?
think we are just on time, but with regards to questions, we will come back to them after all sessions. So it is very good that you mentioned this, Alexandra. By the way, thank you, Alexandra and Flora, for your presentation. I must say that this joint effort is actually first thing that came to mind when we started discussing this webinar. I heard about it. It looked very interesting. I'm very happy that you found the time and had the willingness to actually present what you accomplished and continue doing. Now, we continue, but before we go, as was just said, as a nice reminder, you do, as our participants, have an option to really pose questions using the Slido. So it's not only for the polls, but also for Q&A. So if any one of you have questions to our presenters or questions in general that you deem they find interesting or find an answer to, let us know. I already see some questions are popping up. So just a reminder, thank you once again, Alexander Florent. We continue now with a presentation from one of the German transmission system operators, Amprion, made by, it will be presented by Melina Halili. Please, Melina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Branislav, for the introduction, and hello to everybody in this meeting. My name is Melina Halili, and I work for Amprion in the HR department. I'm responsible for talent acquisition and some HR projects, as well the ENTSO-E committee topics, and I have the honor to represent Amprion in this meeting today. We are talking about how we can ensure skilled workforce also for our projects at Amprion. And of course, due to the time limited today, I can only show you an extract from our initiative and measures and not the whole measurements. So you can switch to the next slide, Emil. Thank you. So I will go through these 4 examples today, beginning with the social recruiting campaign, which we started this year for the first time. Then I will head over to the participation at trade fairs. Here we are also participating at many trade fairs. So this is why I will show you just one special highlight today, and the other 2 measurements, the Girls' Day and the in-house recruiting event. These are 2 initiatives where we specifically want to inspire women and young girls to work for Amprion. So starting with the first example on the next slide. Another slide. Thank you. We started this campaign this year for the first time. Why did we decide to do this? In the past, we didn't use the social platforms like Instagram and Facebook very intensively to publish our jobs. So we chose to do it because our target groups, they are mainly represented on these social platforms. And this is why we chose to publish adverts basically on the smartphones of our target groups. And in point 1 on the left side, you can see how our adverts are looking like. So we are publishing specific job titles. Below that, they will find some benefits when working for Amprion. And if they click on this advert, they come to the second point where we ask them some questions. The intention of the questions is that we can filter out unqualified persons. So we are asking them about their years of work experience, in which specific positions they are interested in, some other interests like, I don't know, maths and making analysis, market analysis. And if they answer the questions correctly, they will be directed to specific job adverts. So in this case, it's the example of jobs in the purchasing department where we have a very very high increase of workforce, a very high increase of jobs which we are offering. So this is why we chose also the purchasing department for this campaign. And if they answer the questions correctly, they will be redirected to the specific jobs. If they don't answer them correctly, they will be redirected to our career website. So in both cases, they have access to our adverts then. And in this third step on the right side, their application is required, of course, but we only ask them to upload their CV to get it or to keep it as easy as possible to apply for us. So this is one way how we try to get access to our target group on the social platform. And in the second example, on the next slides, we go on to a example where we try to get access to our target group in person, and typically trade fairs are a very good solution for that. So on the next slide, we can see that I brought with you a highlight. Of course, we are attending at several trade fairs throughout the year all over Germany. And the highlight which we had this year is that we participated at the eWorld Energy and Water Trade Fair for the first time. Which is interesting is that it's the largest trade fair in our industry in Europe. This is why we decided to attend this year with a 110 square meter exhibition stand. And our recruiting team was also part of this trade fair. And on the exhibition stand, it was a mixture of colleagues who hold presentations about their professional topics, and also attending our recruiting team. And which was a highlight for our HR team this year is that we identified that the conversations we had on this trade fair were with person who had already specific job experience in the energy market, or they attended specific studies related to the energy market. So we could realize that our target group was very, it was very target oriented to attend this trade fair this year. The last two examples which I brought for you today are the examples which I mentioned are specifically to inspire women to work for Amprion, and therefore we can switch to the next slide. The first example is the Girls' Day. The Girls' Day is an event throughout whole Germany, which is being organized every year, and companies can decide on their own whether they want to attend this event or not. This year, also for the first time, we decided to attend the Girls' Day. And why did we do that? Typically, girls more often decide to look into social-oriented jobs. And as Amprion is offering a lot of technically oriented jobs, we decided to hold and organize the Girls' Day in our office in Cologne, where we have more technically based jobs. We have this main switchgear as well, where we coordinate the energy flows. We have various technical career paths, and this is why we chose this location to show the girls the work of our transmission system operator, to show them also some practical exercises, to give them an idea of various career paths by talking to different colleagues. And the main aim is to support and promote a stereotype-free professional orientation of young girls, so that they can see and realize there is a wide opportunity of jobs, not only in socially oriented jobs, but also in the technically oriented fields, for example. And in the end, 14 girls attended this event during the age of 11 to 16. You can see a picture as well. And probably we will continue this event in the next year as well. Coming to the last example, I'm talking about another event where we are inspiring young women to work for Amprion and to apply in our company in the future. We attended already a couple of in-house recruiting events, and I brought with you the example of 2024, where it had the title Women in Energy. What did we do with this event? We invited young female students. You can switch to the next slide. Thank you. We invited young female students who attend mainly MINT degree programs. So means they are attending studies like maths, physics, engineering, and all these kinds of professions where there is also a high need at Amprion. And in the end, we had 22 participants. at this event, and our female colleagues from Amprion from different departments. They hold presentations about their professional topics, about their unique personal development at Amprion, so that the female students could get an insight about their possible future at Amprion. And before we hosted this event, we published this event on various channels, from LinkedIn to personal contacts and universities, to get as much attention as possible in the market for this event, and that we are interested also in female workers. And we not only had the chance to host this event, we also had the chance, which you can see on the left side at the bottom, to generate a 5-digit range of impressions throughout the various platforms. So we could recognize that we could reach our aim to get a lot of attention in our target group for this event. And on the next slides, you can see some impressions. I brought with you some pictures from the event. Just a quick overview. And that was the presentation of Amprion today. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all a nice day.
Thank you, Melina. I must say I'm very surprised that all the presenters until now really took care of their time. I'm very pleased about that, and I don't need to rush everyone. I'm very happy about this. Maybe just to give more context to the presentation just made. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with Amprion itself, but it is one of the 4 transmission system operators of Germany, and is actually situated on the western part of the Germany, quite heavy industry region with many universities, many schools, but even such company has many programs to reach out to new colleagues. So it's also quite a problem for region that is quite focused on the industry itself. So also quite good to keep that in mind, that it's not only those more remote regions, but really regions that are focused on the industry itself. Just a reminder that you can pose questions using the Slido tool. And we do have one more set of questions now before we continue with perspective of manufacturers. So please, another question before you. Take your time. It's a choice question. So a few seconds, let's say 30 seconds to answer. I'll proceed with the next one. Okay, a few more seconds. I see we have some interesting results. I guess everyone really understands the importance of this issue. Most of the answers are extremely critical. So yeah. Okay, we continue with another question. It's also a choice question. Take your time. We are a bit ahead of a schedule, so we still have time to really think about the answer. This question may be a bit more difficult to answer, We took inspiration from one of the reports that was made quite recently, which focused on skill gap. Okay, thank you everyone for your answers. As always, we'll leave the question open if it's not open answer, but there is no rush. We continue with best practice sharing or insights from the industry. As I said before, the lack of skilled workforce affects every one of us, and we affect each other, be it utilities, manufacturers, designers. It doesn't really matter. This is a joint effort. And we start with presentation by Euripides Karatsios from AKT. Please, Euripides, the floor is yours.
All right. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Great. So thanks a lot, Branislav. My name is Euripides Karatsios, and I'm working for NKT. I'm located in Karlskrona in Sweden. My background and my role is engineering, so I'm with products engineering right now, and I'm also part of Europacable, where I participate as the co-chair for the transmission technical working group. So that is my background is engineering. I'm really very much involved with recruitments in real life and really trying to get the best engineers for us in NKT. So if we go to the next slide, I do not have control of that, right? No. So the main point for us is that we would like to offer a compelling story to our employees. We would like our employees to see working for NKT not just as a job, but as a mission and a career. We want to formulate a mission and a vision for the company that our employees can subscribe to. So to do that, we want to combine the shared beliefs of the company, our purpose at our core story, and as well as the employee value proposition, and create our business strategy based on that, because our people are a core aspect of our business strategy. When we have achieved that, and we hope that we have that, we also see that it also works both to retain our people within the company, but also to attract more people in the company. It is a career because it is our people that connect our products to our culture, to our purpose, the power sources to consumption, the shared beliefs to our strategy, and we connect the greener world at the end of the day. That is the message that we would like our employees to subscribe with, and to also convey to the world in all of their interactions, both between themselves but also between NKT and the external world, our clients, our stakeholders, and so on. So if we take the next one, we also invest a lot into developing our people. That is very important. We are in a business where competence takes time to develop, and being able to retain and develop our people is extremely important. So we have a framework around that. We have our career streams, the levels, the families, the jobs. So we organize careers within NKT in a systematic way so that someone can really invest their career with NKT. Again, it's not just a job, it is a career. So someone needs to be able to see their professional development throughout the company as a whole. So we do that in a systematic way. We have our processes to assess the levels. That starts with the employee self-assessment. Then the managers are involved. We provide feedback, and we follow up to create a development plan that is individual to each employee. And then that is connected to the career paths. Now, what you see at the bottom of the page is the career path within engineering. It's structured in 5 levels. Someone can enter as a junior in a junior role as an associate project engineer, and colleagues will climb up to become senior lead engineers. Of course, that requires a lot of experience. The impact is what matters, both within the company but also beyond the company. Many of our engineers are part of international fora, are part of industrial fora. SIGRE is very important in our industry. We have a lot of our engineers, even in my team, contributing to these kind of working groups, and we want to be present. That is now connected. It takes me to the next slide. So we put the people in focus. This is very important. We want to reach out to them. We want to attend to their personal situation, and we want to invest to them, right? So building the networks, it starts with employer branding. As I said, we want to convey a compelling story of who we are, why, what we do, and why we do it. And that should increase the visibility also in targeted audiences. We have extensive sourcing and networking. We are present. We work with the universities. We are in job fairs. We have presence in conferences. Industrial fora, as I mentioned earlier, is not only a way to shape the rules that govern our industry, but is also a way to, increase our visibility to the community. So that is very important. And of course, as the colleague from Amprion said earlier, we use social media. We target different profiles in our candidate searches, but we also put the word out through social media using both LinkedIn very much, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. We have a flexible recruitment philosophy. Again, we want to tend to everyone's individual situation in life, right? So it's not only about finding the right person, the most skilled person. Any person will have a private situation that comes with them, and we want to make sure that that works fine, so that they can focus in NKT and their career in NKT. So one thing that we do is engage hiring managers. How we convey the company when we approach candidates is extremely important. Our managers build professional networks and enhance the reach of NKT in that process. Work-life balance is very important. As I said, I'm located in Sweden. In Scandinavia, I would say this is a very important aspect of life, and we pay a lot of attention to that. How do we do that? Flexible work solutions, right? Flexibility in location, the possibility to work remote, the assistance to relocate and orientate in the new location, and so on. Another thing which has become extremely important is the requirements on language. We work with English as our work language. We have relaxed our requirements compared to the past. In the past, it was a more stringent requirement that someone to join the company needs to be fluent in the local language. Local, in my context, is Swedish, and that has relaxed a lot over the years. It also had to be in this way because our footprint has expanded in multiple locations as well. So English becomes the work language, and that opens up the talent pool much wider. We're very active in sourcing the workforce also from across borders. So there is certain competencies that are easier to find in certain countries within the EU. So we do work with our recruitment agencies and our recruitment resources to be able to access these pools, and then combining that with relocation assistance that we can offer, that results into enhancing the possibility to source competence from different locations within Europe. Investing in people, I believe that is a common approach in our industry. We used to say there's no cable engineering university. meaning that the core competences that are to be learned within our industry are taught by the industry itself to a large extent. So we invest in people in the sense that we hire junior colleagues and we train them. We invest heavily in training them. Most of the training is on the job by mentorships, by traineeships, by different ways that we try to increase their competence. The approach is hire to retire, so we invest in long term as well. And we have recently, the past few years, we have recently launched an extensive training program which covers multiple locations and competencies. That takes me to my last slide, Branislav. I see that I may be reaching my limits. In any case, in everything that we do, the main question stays in our mind. And I believe that this is a question that cuts across companies, across borders. It is something that we need in the power industry, not only in the cable industry as a whole. How do we make these careers more attractive? What is needed? I have some thoughts as bullet points in the slide. We need more attractive university programs. We need more attractive vocational training programs. We need to enhance the collaboration with industry. We need more mobility within the EU borders, and we need more transferability of the skills between similar industries. And again, as we tackle these questions and these suggestions, we always keep in mind what is our role as the industry, what is the role of policy. That is also an important aspect. And I think that was my last word, Branislav. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Euripides. Don't worry, every time I open my camera, that means you still have a minute or so to finish presentation. Just for those that have no idea why I start my camera a bit earlier, that's the reason. Thank you once again. I think you made some very, very good points. Also, the retention and the motivation of the colleagues that are working for the company is also a very important thing to keep in mind. Now we continue with another best practice from the industry. We turn to Valentina Cortesi and Marco Marelli from Prysmian. Please, Valentina, Marco, I'm not sure who starts, but the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. And first of all, thank you for this valuable opportunity. I start by introducing myself. I'm Valentina Cortesi, part of the HR talent development team in Prysmian. And here with me
is Marco Marelli. I'm head of system engineering globally within the business unit transmission. So I'm the user of the talents in my team.
Okay, so we are here today in order to give you and share with you which are, in our opinion, two initiatives in the area of recruitment and development, which represent for us two best practice in addressing one of the most pressing challenge in the industry, which is the lack of skilled workforce. So next slide, please. Before handing over to Marco for a deep dive about these two main initiatives, I would like to give you a broad overview about our integrated talent attraction and development strategy. So first of all, over the recent years, we really invested effort in enhancement of our talent attraction and employer branding strategy. First of all, through the development of an internal center of expertise, which allow us to really boost our hiring capacity, but also we really extending our partnership with the external agency, which allow us to reach those very rare and very skilled job roles. Then we developed and we offer internal global recruiting programs for two main targets, which are the graduates and the professional, with a specific focus on STEM roles. And last but not the least, we really spread our network and our presence in university and school, not just in terms of presence in the job fairs and career days, but also co-developing with them specific training programs. Training, it's really, really important, and we are deeply committed in developing a training program for both desk and non-desk workers. So we have a corporate academy through which we offer trainings for business courses and professional courses, but we also develop a more technical local school, which offers very specific technical skills and for contingent needs. Since 2017, we introduced a technical career path to recognize and reward mainly seniority in the technical functions. And for sure, we offer certifications program and structure on the job training for non-desk workers. We are convinced that training, career and professional growth doesn't stop with training, but we are also actively promoting internal mobility globally across the organization. Moreover, the retention, we know that retention is as much as important as attraction. That's why we run an yearly engagement survey, and we are promoting D&I and well-being program. To close the cycle, we rely also on a solid workforce planning process, which allow us to anticipate resource needs and shape our employer branding and recruitment strategy accordingly to those needs in numbers and profiles. But I hand over to Marco for a deep dive.
Okay, so next, please. Okay, so we chosen two examples of how things are developing into best practices within the company. This first one is aimed to make a career growth to graduate people. So first thing, when we think about graduate people, in the previous presentation, so we already identified this is an issue to find talents. There are rarity in terms of qualified people in the specific fields. So let's talk about people that have been hired. They are graduating in engineering topics or more wider view in STEM topics, and they are qualified or almost qualified when they join the industry. So what's next? Next is continuous improvement of the individuals, but also of the group of people. So what we do is to map the skills when they join, and target the development of those skills where gaps are. I mentioned one typical gap that we see, and I mirror also some of the previous presentations. It's also always difficult to find people graduated in the electrical engineering. It's easier to have energy engineers, mechanical engineers, but it's even more difficult to convert these engineers on electrical topics, more than vice versa. So a lot of effort is put in this sense. We look at what are the gaps, and we look at what we can offer to people to improve. We have, as other industries, as other companies, different levels for this career growth. In our case, we have 4 levels of growth, and those that in their technical career path gets to the highest level, that for us is called discipline leader, are the trainer of the people who join the company. So career growth, continuous improvement, retention, and when I say retention, there is also one thing here. Was mentioned the fight between industries, between different players in the industry to get the right talents. One of the things that I like the most through this program, we get people that are engaged, the company engaged with their own growth, and they find their mission within this program. Through this program, we increased somehow the knowledge, the specific knowledge of the team through a certain matrix that we have of more than 60% in the past 5-6 years. And this for me is a signal of lack of correct training, correct education before people are getting to the market. And this is a point that is not only industry that should tackle, but is also institution universities. Next, please. The other best practice that I focus on is for undergraduate. And we have seen already in previous presentations, again, mentioning them because they cover a lot of things that I was going to say. But now we are going to look at generations that are not facing the work environment yet. They are 11 to 16. They are middle school. They are high school. With them, sometimes we look at getting them motivated to work on a certain stream, on a certain path that is energy transition. With others, we look at specific people that are not inclined to go to university, not willing to have a university degree, a master degree. For doing that, we changed the hiring approach and we changed the training model. We are going locally. We are going to schools. We are showing what we do, but we are not simply doing branding exercises as often done, but we look at purpose orientation of the job that they are looking at. We have a motto in the company that we are recently using, that there's no transition without transmission. So people that are looking at their future, looking at the energy transition, what we teach them is that the transmission field is key for that. And for doing that, we engage them and we make them passionate since the beginning. We get them on board. And then there is the second part, that is the new training model we are using with a continuous process that for undergraduate is not that common. And we make use of a wide network of resources for doing that. The most difficult thing, looking back at the past years, has been to get them oriented to having a sort of international breadth. Because here I mirror what also Euripides was saying. We need people that are European oriented, not local oriented. And we need them also on the blue collars, on the no-desk workers. And this is what we are doing, giving them a sort of international breadth also in this kind of professional schools. Again, just two examples, two best practices that we have in the company, targeting different kind of people, undergraduate and graduates. But if I look at the world, what we need the most is engagement of other stakeholders. It's not just Prysmian, it's not just the cable industry, it's not just the transmission sector, the energy sector. We go wider and we see that this is a need of Europe, is a need of a wider community, and this is where we lack the most of understanding, and where Europe is going to, whether we will have in the future more support from institutions in having talented skills and retaining them within the industry.
Thank you, Valentin and Marco. I think you are slowly at the end of your presentation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Correct.
You are. So thank you once again. I think you made some really interesting points. As you also mentioned, we are doing or building grid of today for next 40, 50, 100 years. So we really need to involve even the younger generation, retain, and of course, transfer the knowledge from the current generation to the next one. So thank you once again for this presentation. Now we do have 2 more questions on the Slido before we proceed with last 2 best practices from the industry. First one is, I think, multiple choice, if I understand correctly. So please take your time. Of course, you have option to add other, because if we start listing who are we actually missing in our sector, I think the list would be quite substantial. So we try to pinpoint some jobs, professions, but of course, not all of them are listed. Okay, we proceed with next question. Do have around 40 responses now, so I think that's more or less okay. We proceed. We will leave this question open through rest of the for the next 2 best practices. So take your time. And we continue with presentation highlighting female talents. This presentation will be made by Marina Dürer from Hitachi Energy. Please, Marina.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Marina Dürer. If you go to the next slide. Yeah, and I will take the next couple of minutes to talk a bit more about diversity, especially like how to attract female talents. We at Hitachi Energy, we strongly believe that diversity is not just an ethical choice, it's also a strategic tool to gap the shortage of skilled workers, tapping into diverse talent pools, including women's and also other diverse groups. It fosters collaboration and also, bridges critical skills. So we believe diversity is not about just inclusion, but it's also a future enabler of sustainable success. If we go to the next slide, I have thought of how Hitachi Energy is attracting female talents and maybe what are we doing good. I have like main 4 pillars. So the first pillar is empowering passion. So we want to advance personal employees to kind of engage or put their passion into projects even outside of their workplace. So we want to inspire employees to organize initiatives. For example, I'm part of the Female DACH network of Hitachi Energy, and it's written with a capital F and a capital M in the middle, symbolizing that the network is open for both genders and for all employees of Hitachi Energy. For us, this is really important because it's a topic that really kind of involves the entire society. And if we exclude 50% of society, it will not be sustainable in the long term. So for us, it's really important that all the initiatives we have are open for all employees. And of course, whoever wants to really put in the extra effort into these initiatives is more than welcome to join. There has been some other colleagues doing some other initiatives as well, being part of T&D, also other like governmental kind of projects, helping in schools for like learning more about what's engineering and so on. I think if people are really driving with their own passion, it's where you can unlock most potential. Of course, we also want to encourage showing like our job profiles. This can be done with, for example, in Switzerland, we have this day called Zukunftstag, so it's the future day, and it is aiming to kind of invite kids in the age of like 10 to 12 years old to join their parents, but not only parents, but maybe also uncles, relatives, also friends of the family, to join them for one day and to kind of job shadowing what their parents are doing on a daily basis. Of course, highlighting here a little bit what we as engineers are doing the entire day. So I think that really helps as well. Then from a company side, I think it's really nice if the company contributes also these kind of activities as working hours. So far, I never had the problem if I asked my boss, also my bosses before, if I could kind of add or support any of these more social activities outside of work on working hours. I think it's in the end, it's still kind of what the company wants to have and do in the future. So if it's clear that this can also be done on working hour, that eases a lot, and it also kind of gives you the kind of okay feeling to leave maybe a couple of hours earlier because you want to attend an event in the evening, or maybe you come a little bit later because you had an event in the evening that took really long and you don't want to stand up at 6 o'clock straight the next day. I think that's really important. And then lastly, it's also about showcasing these personal engagements in the yearly goal setting. So I think most of our companies, they have like these yearly goal settings where you sit down with your manager, you talk about what was good, what was bad, and if there is kind of an optional place where you could put like personal engagement, I think this also supports the conversation that you really want to support this as a company. The next pillar for me on the next slide would be to have honest conversations. There are many challenges ahead of us, and we are not done yet. Many of these challenges are hidden, and so it's important that we can talk about them, but it's also really important that we know that mistakes are part of being a human. So we are not perfect. We all will make mistakes, and it's about how we address these mistakes. Of course, there's like these official tools where you can report someone, but maybe even way earlier you can address, maybe if you don't feel okay with certain situations, to your boss, to your colleagues, without like drilling them to be like a terrible human, right? It's just something how we act on mistakes. I think it's important that we can address them openly, and this is an open mindset. And then, of course, also unconscious bias is really natural, so we just have to be aware that this exists, and we all have unconscious biases. It's just part of being human. It's how about we handle these and that we are aware of them. And then if we go to the next slide, the last two pillars for me, that one is flexibility. For example, home office gives a good like flexibility also with work-life balance. Here Hitachi Energy has the rule that we have so-called home office like agreement. It's like a contract that you set up for 2 years on your job, and it involves you and your boss to or manager to kind of sit down and agree on how many days of home office you can do. And then it's kind of written and it's sent to HR. This also gives the employee a little bit more the ease of knowing how it's handled. And it can't be changed just on a weekly basis. So this contract is usually valid for 2 years. And if someone would want to change it, you would kind of have to formally quit the contract, which I think is like a 3 month. So it gives you the ease of planning ahead. Also, maybe if you get a new boss, things will not change from one day to the other in regards of home office. So I think that's really important for many of us employees. And then, of course, the corporate structure of the company plays an important role as well. So using inclusive language, inclusive pictures, and also having mandatory trainings on behavioral skills and what is kind of asked for in your job, and which are things that are promoted and which are things that are a no-go in our company. So thanks a lot. If we summarize everything, I believe in the next slide, that if we follow these 4 pillars, we can make it better in the moment, but we also will inspire the next generation to come, and this will unlock a huge potential in the next years for our company. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you, Maria. As always, just on time. Very happy to hear your perspective on the female talents. I also think that if we start selecting half of the population, we won't get anywhere. We are missing quite a lot of people here, and different perspectives bring different ideas, and so that we can move together forward. Okay, before last, best practice from the industry, just a short reminder, you can pose your questions. We do already have, I think, quite a bit. We'll come to them after presentation of Siemens, but just as a reminder that you are able to do it using the Slido tool. We proceed with the presentation on Siemens Power Academy, presented to us by Pedro Moreno. Please, Pedro.
Yes, thank you for this invitation. My name is Pedro Moreno. I am senior trainer of Siemens Power Academy. Siemens Power Academy is a professional training center in the area of power transmission and power distribution. And we have in total 16 locations worldwide. So today I would like to present to you one of our best practice called Synergy. That means simulations of emergency situations, to not only secure and retain skilled workforce, but also to qualify them for their task, so that they are prepared for the challenges posed and to master complex tasks. So please click on the next slide. Let's have a look on some facts about the current changes into the energy supply regarding human impact on that. Okay, please click the next. Yes, we know that more than 80% of all faults that occurs during network operation are caused by humans and not by machines and computers. This is a fact. This is a very serious problem today. And second, since 2015, up to 4 times more great balancing interventions are required. That means we need more interventions from humans at the end of the day to maintain frequency and voltage stability. So, and now you can see where is the problem. Okay, we humans are the main reason for electrical faults, but we need more interventions of employees, right? And it is getting more complex because 90% of unplanned events require multi-system coordinations. That means that grid operations are not longer linear. They are multidimensional and interdependent. That means grid operators need to deal with various systems, various system informations, such as weather, storage, demand response, and so on. So now let us see in a short video clip what our answer to the challenges mentioned looks like. Please click on the next slide and play our video clip. So thank you. You can click to the next slide. Yes. As you can see, in a critical situation, every second count because unexpected power failures put life at risk. And now let us have a look at the most important requirements of well-qualified specialists to deal with critical network situations. Your team must know the standard processes and guidelines for their area of responsibility. They must know how to react to unexpected events and how to restore normality in an emergency situation. They must be able to handle stress and be suitable for fulfilling their task. And they must develop skills and abilities, learn from experiences, and continue to develop. This is, let's say, an overview of the most important requirements for skilled workforce. So please click to the next slide. So to achieve the qualification required, mentioned before, we have created a realistic simulation environment with which we are able to train for different scenarios and critical situations during network operation, right? So we have at the Siemens Power Academy in our training locations, realistic training simulator based, you see in the middle of this picture, based on realistic power control room with where we use SCADA system, and with this equipment we are able to simulate any kind of electrical network, integrate any kind of electrical network, or it can be IT or OT network configuration. We are able not only to do trainings on site in our training locations, we are able to do trainings in the metaverse. Metaverse, this is not augmented reality, it's not virtual reality, it is a kind of video game environment where you are able to join a training with your own avatar, and you will find in this digital world the complete training equipment we have in real life. Okay, so we as Siemens, we have access to different devices and systems within the complete energy supply chain. So we selected some one of those equipments and solutions and put that together in order to simulate the chain of electrification and automation. We have, for example, real devices like cables, circuit breakers, bus bars, switch gears, TIS, AIS, and so on and so on. With this equipment, we are able to simulate on a realistic way different critical situations. And, you know, if you need to manage a complex situation, different technical staff needs to collaborate together in order to manage this situation. And this rolling play task can be done during our trainings. And yes, and you must be able to work even with simple tools like a network plan or mobile phone if you have been attacked by hackers. So we are able to simulate additionally cyber attack incidents. So you can see at the right side of this slide this kind of watch. So we connect our participants to scientific devices to measure different body values during the simulation of critical situations. So the idea is that our participant can see how their own body react in case of stress, and they learn from brain researchers we invite to our trainings different methods on how to manage this stress, how to reduce the stress in a critical situation in order to free energy to your brain and think better and focus on the solution you need in this situation. So Symergy is a platform that can be used to exchange experiences. So this is why we like to invite different companies, different technical staff in order they have the opportunity to exchange their experiences. So please click on the next slide. We have now reached the end of my presentation, and I would like to give you a brief summary. Energy supply tasks have become significantly more complex, and as you learn, Symergy helps overcome both the technical and human challenges during critical grid management situations. And yes, we are open to collaborate with partners because energy transition can only succeed together. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Pedro, for your presentation. I think I saw you in the video itself, if I'm correct. So we really saw a person in the video itself. Thank you once again. And I think it's quite interesting point of view because we saw how different companies really try to attract talent. But once you have the talent, you really need to focus on training it. I'm just to make it 100% clear that we are not in a field when you can just find anyone out in the streets and put them right into work. That's not exactly how the power sector works. And I hope that everyone understands that. Now we are at the end of the presentation part of the webinar. We have some more, or better said, we have one more question on the Slido, and we proceed with Q&A. We did receive, I think, around 12 questions or so. So we'll try to address as much as we can before conclusions. So few more seconds, let's say 30 seconds or minute to answer, as it is an open question. Quite difficult to answer, but we are looking for personal opinions. So don't be shy. Feel free to answer what you deem as best. Okay, we'll leave the question on the Slido opened, but we'll slowly start with the Q&A. We did receive several questions, I already said, and I'll try to address them to our today's presenters. So first, let's start with a question to Ilya. I hope that Ilya, you are still here. We have question for a commission, so maybe you will be able to answer. The question itself is, I'm wondering what sectors are included in the Union of Skills. Is it energy sector specific? Can EU support making the grid sector cool among young people?
Thank you. Thank you also for the question. So Union of Skills is not sector focused. But what I could say is it gives a lot of emphasis on the STEM fields, which are important in strategic sectors like clean and energy technologies. I have mentioned previously the strategy specifically for the STEM field. So making it cool, we have heard at the beginning, I think, very nice presentation by Amprion, in which we heard on what are their motives, how they're getting closer to people, how to make them, how to come closer to them. So in that way, I would think that the companies and the operators are closer to the younger people and better suited to really do this campaign. On the other hand, there is a number of programs in which the Commission is really supporting education and training, also much beyond the energy sector. I would say we have the European Social Fund Plus, we have the Erasmus Plus. There's also, in the context of the ENTSO-E academies, the Commission can provide seed funding, although this is not the easy, but we support this. And as a conclusion, but I think the companies are more closer to really do this campaign among the young people themselves.
Thank you, Ilya, for the answer. I think as well, but let's not leave policymakers out of it. As we said, it's a joint effort, so I'm sure every single one of us has their part in it.
No, of course, fully agree.
So that said, I will go in turn. So for now, I will switch question to RT and Edis, and if time allows us, I do have one more question for you. But for now, we will try to address question to Edis RTE. A question to the grid schools: how do you concretely contribute to the feminization of the sector? This is to Alexander and Florent.
I can answer this question.
Florent is going to answer.
Well, we have, in fact, we have a problem as for all the companies of the sector about the gender diversity. For example, in RTE, we have 24 women employees, so it's quite far from 50, and we have a goal of 30% for to 2040. Well, for the sector and for the program of the grid schools, for example, we have two actions we want to develop. First action is a program of reskilling. We want to support career changes for women, and we want to develop the attractivity of the sector with stable jobs, local employment, technical training. And we believe that we could have a great success with this program, and we want to work with the French public agency for reskilling, which is France Travail, as Alexandre mentioned before. The second action is to develop a program of mentoring. We want to develop a link between the women students and mentors from the grid sector. And we believe that it will be a great strategy to promote women, to increase attractivity of the sector and to motivate them to join the sector. And well, we have other action, but I would say that the presentation of Marina from Hitachi was very interesting about the topics, and we have a lot of common action with this program, and we could hear new actions very interesting from this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Florent. Now we do have several more questions for you, but we will come to it when we have time. Now we continue with question to Amprion. What are your perspectives on female talent retention? At our company, we are already close to reaching 50% of female recruitment. However, as we go into more experienced groups, this reduces dramatically. Any thoughts on that?
I think we can basically say that the quote of women working for Amprion is still too low. So this is why we are facing these kind of initiatives. So I think we are still figuring out the main question, how we can attract more women to work for Amprion, and we are not at the deeper point to find out whether it's getting more critical when facing specific groups. It's just we are still with the overall question, I would say.
So it's not the question of retention yet, it's now at the question of really the recruitment.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, maybe while this question was already posed and we did have presentation on women or female talent, maybe Marina has something also to answer on this part. So perspective on female talent retention and the, how to call it, the more senior or the more experienced group, the amount of women working there reduces dramatically. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a hard topic that we definitely discuss in our network as well. I think it already starts at university. I mean, I studied electrical engineering. When I started, I think we were like 14% female. When I left university, it was already 20% female students in the first year. So the numbers are going up, but you cannot hire 50%, or the industry cannot hire 50% female if only 20% graduate, right? There is a big gap there already. And then, of course, the higher the level in management, it's getting harder and harder to find female candidates as well. So I think there it's also important that it's also a little bit forced that you have female candidates, that we have an eye on that. Definitely, it's more likely that female candidates, if they only hit maybe 60% of the job description, will not apply for positions, whereas male candidates tend to more likely even approach jobs that don't match their current profile maybe 100%. So maybe also there it's our possibility to encourage also women to apply for these positions, knowing that maybe they would fit even they don't kind of think of it.
Thank you for your perspective. We will continue with question to the Prismian, and once again, if we have time, we'll come back to you. So this is more of a general question, but let's try. We'll see if colleagues from Prismian will be able to answer. Do you need more blue collar or white collar, better said, engineers or technicians, workers? Do you have any numbers or thoughts on this? White collar, blue collar?
Well, in terms of ratio, I think that it's following more or less the ratios that we have now in the company. So in general terms, we have more need for blue collars in general terms because of the expansion of the capacity, whether it's production installation, but also the site working sites and so on will require a lot of non-desk worker people, but also and that's why I was focusing also on that. This is a target that sometimes is not seen at first glance, but in reality it is a need that the industry have, and sometimes is not covered enough. I was seeing that also in the chat at the beginning, one of the first slide of questions. There was this need in the industry that was underlined also in different countries. In terms of numbers, I'm not sure, but we are seeing, I think, a growth of about 20 to 30% per year over year on the non-desk workers, compared to a plus 15-20% year over year for the desk workers.
Thank you for the answer. Now we're starting second round. We still have time, I guess, for one or two more questions. So, question to Ilya once again, maybe more of a comment actually, but good to note. Do you consider the issues regarding energy skills are the same in the other sectors? So basically, as was already said several times, we are very critical sector, even to the safety of the Europe, to the critical infrastructure and to everything else. But as was said, we are competing with other industries that are also important. I mean, not to degrade someone else, but any thoughts on the skills that are basically the same for multiple sectors? Any thoughts on this, Ilya?
Indeed, I think coming from DG Ener, I think I also share your views about the importance of energy sector vis-a-vis possibly other sectors. But what I can say that Europe is indeed facing challenges which are cross-sectoral and far-reaching. We have seen that we are facing needs in high graduates education, but also with workers with appropriate vocational education, and that is across sectors. What I think puts energy sector, I would say, in a stark contrast to others. Together, I would say maybe with anything related to digitalization is related to the gravity of the transition we have ahead. So as you know, as you very well know, Europe aims to reach climate neutrality by 2050, reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 55% by 2030. This will require significant investments in renewable energy efficiency grids. You yourself, Branislav, also Florent also mentioned some of the numbers. I have mentioned some of the numbers that the energy workforce will need to increase by 50% just by 2030. So I think this is an element which really puts energy sector significantly, let's say, separates it from the others, I would say.
Thank you for the answer. I definitely agree. The numbers themselves, be it in the amount of finances needed or skill force needed, it's I'm not saying it's like when you're reading fairy tale, but it's something. Really, the numbers themselves are surprising. But this is the road we need to take, of course. Thank you, Ilya. I'm afraid that we don't have time to answer more questions, but we will address them after in the conclusions and follow up together with the presentation. So don't worry about that. We will definitely address all the questions. We'll reach out to the presenters and let you know. Now we are coming to the conclusion of the session. I mean, what can I say that was not already said? We heard many interesting, important points. I hope that some of you have better understanding of the situation before us. I mean, it's not only before us because it's already here and it will be here for many years to come. Maybe you also got some inspiration or maybe some points to implement back home from the best practices you just heard. As you can see before you, our 4 associations, that means TND Europe, Europacable, DSO NTT, and ENTSO-E, agreed on a joint roadmap, which also pinpoints skilled workforce as one of the key topics. I mean, that's why we are here today. The whole document and the roadmap itself will be presented at the Copenhagen Infrastructure Forum in a few weeks. So if you're interested, take note of that. Of course, it will be publicly available after. With regards to the presentation and conclusions of the webinar itself, of course, as mentioned several times, you will find them on our website and on the websites of other associations in the coming days. To conclude, the road ahead is interesting, to say the least. I'm not saying in the curse way because when you know the curse is may you live in interesting times, but I mean, these are the times we're living, and this is the road we need to take. It is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity. And I think our whole sector should really take hold of the spotlight we are enjoying that's currently on us by basically the whole Europe. I won't go into details, even more so with regards to blackout that happened 2 weeks ago. I mean, the whole of Europe really refocused on the whole grid safety and also preparedness to react to unexpected situation that was also briefly said in the presentation by Pedro. So to conclude, thank you all to the presenters, to Commission, to Ilya, to Secretariat support that really worked hard to prepare this webinar. I mean, Secretariat support of individual associations. And of course, to you, our participants. Goodbye and have a nice rest of the day.